Good day! The Business Mirror offers you stories, conversations, and insights with this session we're calling Freshly Brewed. Like great coffee to savor, Freshly Brewed tells compelling stories through the interaction between the most interesting people and Business Mirror's roster of journalist hosts, discussing the hot issues of the day, or topics still unfolding, or brewing. And these compelling stories are shared with you via Business Mirror's multimedia platforms. Today, we'll be talking about processed food. Well, we have to accept the fact that processed food is part of our daily life. But what we need to do is to consume these processed food items with other healthier food groups. Our host, veteran diplomatic reporter, and multimedia content creator Malou Talosig Bartolome will talk about processed and ultra-processed food. Yes, there is such a thing as ultra-processed food, with Celeste Tanchoco, president of the Nutritionist-Dietitians Association of the Philippines Foundation.
Privileged to have not just an ordinary nutritionist here in our program, but we have here Miss Celeste Tanchoco. Welcome to the show, Miss Tanchoco.
Nice to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for having us. How should I call you, ma'am? How should I call you?
Ma'am Esteng.
Ma'am Esteng. Ma'am Esteng! Ayan, so, parang kumare. Kumareng Esteng. Ma'am Esteng, or should I call you Miss Tanchoco? You've been a nutritionist, I saw your profile here, since 1970s. So what made you decide to become a nutritionist? Back then, di ba? Uso ba ang nutritionist, no? O dietitian?
Well, I thought I wanted to cook. But then,
okay.
so I was really interested in nutrition and dietetics. But eventually, after my graduation, I was not really very keen about cooking.
So you decided you take up nutrition as your course. And
Yes.
then masteral mo nutrition.
Yes.
And then doctoral mo nutrition pa rin, mama. And then, what about mama dietitian? What's the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian? But before you answer that, in case our audience, it's your first time here on YouTube and Facebook, kindly hit the subscribe or follow button. And of course, like our page and like this show. Stay tuned as we will give prize, magkano? 1 million ba to? For the most engaged audience. Ayan. Ma'am, anong difference, ma'am, ng dietitian sa nutritionist? Pag nagda-diet ba ako, pupunta ako sa dietitian. Ganun ba yun?
Well, for a dietitian, you should be a graduate of a professional course of nutrition and dietetics. Have undergone experience in terms of training as an undergrad, and you should have passed a licensure exam.
License dapat.
And then, of course, being a registered dietitian.
Okay.
Whereas a nutritionist can be any individual interested in the science of nutrition. So you may have an agriculturist who is a nutritionist, or let's say a medical doctor who is also a nutritionist. So for as long as they have had exposure to the science of nutrition,
They don't need to be
dietetics. So usually the dietitian is the one given the authority to do counseling of patients in terms of diet.
Okay. Sige, ma'am. So, para sa ating mga viewers, if you like to have a dietitian, you need to call their foundation. May list kayo, no?
Yes.
Tama po ba? Ayan. So, you've been around for how many years na, ma'am? So, what's the normal diet of Filipinos? May nabago ba since 1970s until now?
Well,
Parehas-parehas rin ba na kanin pa rin?
if we look at the food usually partaken, it's usually made of rice, fish, and before there was a fruit. Commonly, the common fruit is banana.
Oh.
But now, with still practically the same, but we see now a trend to lesser intake of vegetables and fruits.
Mahal na kasi.
Oo nga po.
Oo.
But still, rice is a predominant part
Rice
of
pa
the
rin.
diet.
Rice eating pa rin.
Yes, rice. And now, in terms of nutrient content of this diet, well, we actually have a high carbohydrate diet, and we have adequate protein, but then ang protein natin comes mainly from the rice. So it's not the good quality protein coming from meat, fish, poultry, eggs, or milk.
Okay.
Then we have more or less this within normal level of fat. Okay, before we had a low fat intake.
Okay.
The
Tambog-tambog ka lang, mga ano-ano lang.
Ngayon medyo we are within
A lot
the
of rice.
recommended fat allowance. But then the reason why we had a problem of vitamin A deficiency noon, but gradually we're improving on that status of deficiency.
Vitamin A means you need more, ano pa yun? Mga ano yan? Ano yung vitamin A? Sorry nakalimutan ko yata aking nutrition. Ano po yung, ano yung vitamin A?
Your good
ma'am?
sources will be liver.
Ayan.
And your...
So, hindi tayo maatay.
Hindi.
At saka,
And good quality protein. We also can get the pro-carotene, the pro-vitamin A, which is carotene, coming from green leafy yellow vegetables.
Mga carrots, no,
Yeah,
ma'am?
and kalabasa.
Kalabasa. Okay, so hindi tayo masyadong ganun ngayon, lately.
Oh, yes.
Oo. Let's talk about itong war. Let's move on to this war being waged against ultra-processed food. So talaga po bang, ano po ba? So let's go back. What is processed food and ultra-processed food? Anong difference po nila?
Well, there was a recommendation before to classify foods, and this is what we call the NOVA classification.
Okay.
And the classification of food was based on their processing rather than on the nutrient content of the food. So they have what we call NOVA 1, which is foods wherein they are prepared just by the traditional cooking methods such as boiling, drying, etc.
Lutong bahay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for NOVA 2 is made up of ingredients used for processing. So this will include salt, vinegar, sugar. And then NOVA 3 will be processed foods making use of this salt, vinegar. So there are no industrial processing done. And the last classification is NOVA 4, which they say is the ultra-processed food.
Okay.
Because this is prepared from industrially manufactured, ready-to-eat or ready-to-heat formulations coming from substances from food and with added additives, flavorings. So in other words, there is no whole food that is present in ultra-processed food.
Okay.
So it's a concoction of flavorings, food substances.
Okay.
So an example of this will be your chips.
Okay. So let's break it down, ma'am. Breakfast ng mga Filipinos. Pag gising pa sa umaga, di ba, ano na? Kape. Kape, processed or ultra-processed?
It's coffee is processed food.
Processed, yan. Hindi na tayo pwedeng umabsent dito, mama. Tapos, sa pagkain, kanin, Nova 1, di ba? Nova
Yeah.
1. So, hindi siya process.
No.
Wow, pwede na ako pwede na ako dietitian. Tapos pag ma'am, tocino, paborito ng mga Pilipino, tocino, ano 'yan? Process or ultra process?
Nova 3.
Nova 3. So hindi pa siya ultra process.
There's still whole meat that you process here.
Okay.
So your ultra process, usually you can detect that if you look at the ingredients. The ingredients will not be easily available in a home kitchen.
Okay. So dahil available pa si tocino as
May meat pa
may
siya.
meat pa.
Oo.
So paano yung hotdog? Paborito ng mga anak ko. Pag hotdog, ma'am, paano?
They classify it as ultra processed.
Ultra processed na. Okay. Kasi yung meat niya hindi na available. Tama ba? Ganun po
Yeah,
ba yan?
usually mga iba-ibang meat concoctions ang nandun. Pwede rin hindi nga meat eh.
Oo. Okay. Yung mga ma'am, tinanong na agad no? Paano pag longganisa? Yan, paborito ng mga Pilipino.
That's
Longganisa.
processed food.
Processed food. Okay.
May meat pa naman yung ground meat with fat. Meron,
Oo. So when you say po ba na ultra processed, is it really that bad po ba?
well, for that matter, for processed food or ultra processed, there are merits to it. For example, even if you have chips, but these chips are with added nutrients.
Okay.
Meron tayong tinatawag na sangkap Pinoy, di ba?
Opo.
Pag may sangkap Pinoy yung chips, ibig sabihin,
May label.
meron siyang fortified with vitamin A,
okay.
etc. So there is an added benefit in terms of the nutrients that are needed by a child, for example. However, your drawback here is mataas ang salt.
Salt, okay.
And then, another advantage is that for food safety, kunyari, yung mga na kamatis na nabubulok.
Opo.
So, through processing, they are made into tomato paste. So, you prolong the shelf life. So, I'm talking in general of the
process.
advantage of
Okay.
processing.
Okay po.
Okay. Plus food safety. Diba? When foods are packaged rather than being exposed to the elements, you safeguard the food in terms of contaminants.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, during calamities, di ba po ba, sometimes you need processed food. Like, nung pandemic natin, a lot of our Filipinos, they don't have garden, di naman lahat may farm, or they do not have chicken backyard. So, okay na rin yung merong, di ba?
Yes.
Merong kang canned good. But is it, how bad can it be as a food, ma'am? Kung hindi naman siya that bad. I mean, if it's not really bad.
Well, if practically or all throughout the day, you're just relying on processed foods.
Okay.
But then, if this is in combination with a diet that we say is adequate, okay, there is balance, there is variety of food choices, then that merits a good balanced diet. And for that matter, when I am asked the question, meron bang junk food?
Opo.
Or is there such a thing as a bad food?
Opo.
That is very relative. When you say a food is junk or bad, you say wala siyang naging benefit. However, let's say a soda, it's an empty calorie drink.
Yes.
However, for a person who is thirsty, then he gets hydrated because of the soda.
Yeah.
So, you do not say that this soda is bad, di ba, or junk. Or for that matter, we say milk will be bad or a junk when you are just providing milk to a child without any other solid foods. Kasi even if you say it's practically complete in nutrients,
Right.
there are still other factors that you have to consider when feeding a child. For example, in terms of teaching him to choose other foods,
Right,
no?
right.
Teaching him how to do proper mastication, or teaching him how to to feed himself. Kasi kung gatas lang siya ng gatas, yun.
So, yun lang yung source of food niya. Masama rin yun.
Yes.
Dapat variety, balance.
Yes. Nutritionally adequate.
Okay. Pero meron bang threshold, ma'am, na okay, ilang french fries ka lang araw na to or whatever. Or ilang chips ka lang whatever. Walang ganun, ma'am. Wala kayong nire-recommend na ganun, na
I think
threshold.
the mother would be in the best position to say na tama na to, no? But then, for as long as the recommendation of the diet is followed by the child, once in a while, pwede siguro yon.
Okay. So, mga nakikinig po dyan, paano po, ma'am, kung ang pagkain lang daw po nila ay puro junk food? So, you need to encourage your child? Paano po?
Well, it takes a lot of food time for food habits, good food habits to be acquired. So it all depends on the modeling of a parent. For example, if a parent really will also have this type of diet, chances are this will be the exposure, the food environment that your child will be exposed to. Kaya yun din ang gugusto niya. In other words, parents will have a big role in determining what should be a healthy food environment in the home. Kung pag binuksan ng bata yung cabinet, panay junk food ang makikita, chances are yun ang kukunin niya, di ba?
Opo.
And a mother who wants to teach a child how to, let's say, appreciate vegetable, will have to have the same appreciation for the vegetable. Kunyari, kung gusto mong kumain yung anak mo ng ampalaya, you be a good role model to appreciate the taste of ampalaya. Hindi pag kumain ka, parang kasing kulubot ng mukha mo sa pagkain ng ampalaya, ganun din ang magiging effect sa bata.
Kaya kaagaw mo yung anak mo sa chips.
Okay. And then of course, it takes a lot of creativity for a child to be encouraged to take vegetables. For example, yung cutting up vegetables in different shapes para attractive sa bata.
Yeah.
Di ba?
Opo. Yeah. So, kailangan pa rin ng effort, no, on parenting when it comes to eating. Not just because may lifestyle, mabilis na lifestyle natin, it doesn't mean na we should not also do our part. Okay? So, can we have a lifestyle, ma'am, na where we can have balance na, we can balance yung, may mga ganyang processed food and also yung mga so-called healthy food?
Yes. Yeah. As I said, for as long as a meal is planned in such a way that this will provide the different tenets of a healthy diet, wherein it is adequate in terms of amounts, there is variety, no? Plus there is balance. So when you talk of these principles of diet, important is variety. In other words, foods will have to be coming from different food groups and different types of food within the food group. Kunyari, sa gulay, variety will mean having not the same vegetable over and over again. Kunyari, panay repolyo, hindi siya na-expose sa variety ng gulay. Oo.
Okay.
And take note that
Mamaya yung mura sayote, repolyo,
but take note, the greener the vegetable, leafy vegetables are more nutritious than this sayote, sitaw, talong. Okay. And the yellow vegetables as well.
So, pag kumain ka halimbawa ng chips na yun, dapat kumain na rin ako ng kalabasa.
Yes.
Dapat ganun na yung mindset mo. Yung offset, di ba? Para maka-enjoy ka ng yung comfort food. Tama po ba?
Yeah.
Okay. So, tama nga yung iba, they cut on rice para makakain din sila ng ibang vegetables na may and meat. Tama po. Para
Yun nga
makapag-500
ang sinasabi
calories.
natin niya. The myth of ultra-processed food. They say that this was the reason why there was an increase on obesity.
Obesity.
But obesity and overweight has been a problem
Way before pa.
years, even before this introduction of ultra-processed food. And we have a lot in the market of low-fat formulations, di ba? Mga low-fat. And yet, bakit pataas pa rin ang ating prevalence ng obesity? So, the problem really is, you do not get your calories from the ultra-processed foods alone, but you also get it from more on the cereals that you take, the rice, the breads, the
pasta,
cookies,
the cake,
a lot of other.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what is important is really not categorizing food by the manner in which they are processed. Because after all, we cannot do away with food processing. That's part of our food system.
Yeah.
Di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng lahat hindi processed. Di ba? But it takes a lot
That makes us
of...
civilized also, di ba?
Yeah. What is more important is really an early exposure to good food habits by children, the role of the home environment in teaching them the
Right.
proper food choices, the role also of the school in terms
Yes,
of inculcating proper nutrition education for kids. Well, we still have a lot of other civil societies who can help also do a lot of nutrition education.
And not just share na, oh, to, bad to, but not on the overall health condition.
Oo, I think what is important is not teaching them yung direction of what to choose, but empowering people on how to do proper food choices through nutrition education. Diba? Mas may negative effect pa nga yung mga sasabihin natin, avoid ultra-processed foods. Because it does not allow or consider preferences of people, diba? Or it does not allow certain independence for them to do their choices.
Right, right. As long as it's always balanced, and you know that that you should have more on the healthier food.
Oo, tsaka marami naman mga mga tools sa nutrition na pwede nating gamitin. I don't know if you're familiar with the Pinggang Pinoy, di ba? Pinggang
sige ma'am,
Pinoy.
para sa mga hindi nakakaalam.
Wherein, if you have a 9-inch plate, okay, half of that should be made up of vegetables and fruits. Okay, only half, well, more coming from your protein-rich foods and less of your carbohydrate-rich foods.
Yes. So, ginawa ng FNR. By the way, our guest here is also from FNRI before, no ma'am? So,
Yes.
kayo po ba yung nag-conceptualize ng Pinggang Pinoy?
Hindi po.
Hindi naman. So, yung naging visual, ang ganda nung
Yes.
kaysa yung portion, di ba? Yung
Yes.
nakikita mo sa mga Instagram ngayon, portion eating. Mas maganda yung Pinggang Pinoy kasi mas visual. Tama
Yes.
po? Mas visual yung gaano karami yung portion mo lang nakakain. Yeah, mas madali rin siyang ituro. Tsaka mas madali siyang maalala ng mga bata.
Maintindihan.
Oo. Pero hindi pa rin ginagawa ng Pilipino.
Minsan, it's not just, even if you have adequate information, let's consider it's not just choices. It can also be affected by the resources that you have for food. Diba?
Yeah.
So,
Mas mura ma'am ang noodles kaysa
oo
sa
nga,
isang
oo,
kilong
that's
bigas.
true. Oo.
Di po ba?
Oo.
Ayan. So pag noodles, dapat kumuha ka ng mga malunggay dyan, di ba?
Oo,
Tambog
dagdagan
mo.
Oo,
Ano pa yung pwede? Ang
Yeah.
malunggay mura, di ba? Or
Yes.
it's free.
Yeah.
Diba?
So, for as long as you have other sources, kunyari may home gardening ka, so pwede kang magkaroon ng gulay doon.
Any more things that we need to improve on, ma'am, on when it comes to ultra processed food? So kailangan may ano po ba, may medyo may ngipin yung mga ano natin, may enforcement capacity yung ating FDA.
Well, there are a lot of moves to help regulate intake of processed foods. You have the nutrient profiling. Nutrient profiling guides us as to what is an acceptable nutrient level for a certain food. Let's say, what is the acceptable sodium for, let's say, processed meats
Okay.
that can be recommended for children.
Yes,
So
yes.
the profile of the food is stipulated. So there is a nutrient profile for certain types of food that can be recommended for children. Now there is also a move in terms of,
Kanino move yun, ma'am? Sa group niyo, ma'am?
well,
Profiling
it's
nutrition.
still being reviewed by Department of Health,
Okay.
then DOST. Then there is also a move to practice front of pack labeling.
Okay.
So front of pack, this will already tell you whether this food is okay in terms of certain nutrients.
Like what, ma'am? Anong example?
Well, we still do not have the front of pack here. Kanyari, sa Australia, they have this a seal, yung parang heart, good for the heart. So,
Okay.
yun.
Yung mga
Such
ibang-
that a customer
may- yung
can just easily look at the front of pack. Then this says that this food is okay in terms of salt, of sugar, etc.
Okay. So, yung mga ibang, mga ibang private companies who are doing it, they are doing it on their own. Pero hindi pa siya standardized.
Sa ibang countries, yeah.
Sa
Sa
ibang
Philippines, still voluntary.
Yes, voluntary.
Voluntary.
Yeah.
So it's not imposed by government.
So, para pag nakita mo agad, ito para sa diabetic, ito para sa mga may hypertensive, di ba? Oo, maganda yun, ma'am. Very good. We'll support you on that. Okay, so we have already discussed, for parents, how can they ensure their kids they get the right nutrients kahit na busy yung schedule nila, ma'am?
Well,
Parang advice mo yan sa akin. Paano po? Baka katulad busy, ganon. Paano, how do you ensure na okay pa rin?
what is important is there should be adequate time for you to, let's say, if you're preparing baon for your children, you have to plan on it
Okay.
such that it will not be an excuse that you do not have time to do it. So it takes
So
a
1
lot
week
of
before,
planning.
nabaon mo na,
Oo,
naplano mo
napaplano
na yung
na.
baon, mga bata. Oo. Because they tend to just eat elsewhere, no?
Yeah,
Oo.
and if they're just given money and they're left to choose their food, chances are they will go for foods that are sort of peer approved. Kunyari, pag ang
Nako,
Mga
mahirap yung mga na sila, nasa milk tea na stage na sila. Opo, mataas ang sugar, di ba po ba? Opo.
Oo. Kaya yun. So better that they have baon, which you can really see what the child can eat. Unless of course your child swaps baon with
Naku,
another-
gali din mo.
So you better.
Mga matatalino.
Oo. They swap baon.
Opo.
Yeah. It's good if the one na pinag-swap niya maganda yung food, no? Yan. So, again, what is important is really counseling the child, teaching them early what should be a healthy diet for them.
Rolling. Ayan. Ma'am, ito. Bakit po important yung food na na-process na dito sa country natin, which is very much island, puro daming islands, so archipelagic country?
Well, one thing is that in order to provide what we term food security, may mga areas na far-flung areas wherein it will be difficult for them to access food. Kunyari, sa mountainous area, the
Right.
reason why we have a lot of iodine deficiency, hindi sila makakuha ng mga fresh fish. Diba?
Right.
So, food security in the sense that foods which are processed can be delivered to them safe and free from contaminants at saka preserved then. No? Yun. So we
Sa
do
mga
not
ibang islands naman po, like yung sinabi nyo kanina, may basilan kayong, anong nutritional, sila ma'am? Anong gap na lang sa mga ibang islands, ma'am?
so,
Marami silang isda.
marami silang isda, but they do not have enough vegetables.
O yun naman.
Oo.
Oo.
So kunyari, if you need fresh tomatoes, your processed food can be the canned or tomato paste that can be used by this group.
So dito naman sa Manila, since wala tayong isda, unless nandun ka sa Manila Bay, maybe we can have the canned fish
Oo,
naman
at
po.
saka seasonality of food affects food pricing.
Right, let me
And
know.
for example,
Bagyo.
there was a time ang mahal-mahal ng luya.
Oh,
So what can you use? You can use the frozen ginger
Right.
in place of the fresh ginger. Diba?
Yes, ma'am.
So there, as I said, there are advantages of processed food, and one of these is making available, easily available foods at any time.
Right. Okay. Pag may sakuna, ma'am, di ba? Una yung mga DSWD, mga nila, kasama sa food pack, di ba?
Yeah.
Processed food din po yun, but
Yeah.
still very nutritious. Tama. Okay. So, should we use still the term, given that what we have discussed earlier, should we still use the term ultra-processed po, or we just use processed sa lahat ng...
Actually, among the group of food technologists, they say that we should not use, or we should stop using ultra-processed food, just processed food.
Okay.
Because this brings a bad image to ultra-processed foods. Parang it's demonizing ultra-processed food. Whereas in fact, there are certain merits to these food groups.
Yeah. The same way that some people are demonizing rice, di ba? So, no more rice, di ba? Ayaw para mag-diet, no more rice. So, the same way then, no? Some people are alienating certain food na which are also beneficial for some people and other people. Yan. So, ano po yung mga ibang mga ginagawa nyo ngayon, ma'am, sa foundation?
Well, we have a forthcoming symposium, the Nutritionist-Dietitians Association of the Philippines Foundation, on February 18.
Oh, okay.
And we will honor two important pillars in nutrition and dietetics. One is the Clara Ruth Darby Memorial Lecture. Clara Ruth Darby was an American professor who came to the Philippines, and she established nutrition and dietetics at UP Diliman.
Okay.
And we also have the Velona A Corpus Award, and this is usually given to a professional who's used to doing or translating the science of nutrition into layman. So yung mga active sa media, sa mga writing, sa social media, this is what we consider the translational way of propagating the science of nutrition and dietetics.
Laymanizing or
Yes.
laywomanizing the jargons, diba? On nutrition. Okay. So, ma'am, do you have any other final words, ma'am? Thank you po sa time mo, ma'am.
Well, I would like to thank, of course, being invited to this podcast. And we have to accept the fact that processed food is here to stay. They are part of our food system. It's a matter of choosing a healthy diet wherein you may include processed food. Okay.
Alright. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, meron po ba kayong project sa Nutrition-Dietitians Association Foundation po?
Well, the foundation is actually a DOST accredited foundation.
Okay.
So we have a program which is Teachers Enhancement Program, and we chose Basilan University as our
Pilot?
recipient for this. So we will go into sort of a partnership with them such that we can update them in terms of nutrition and dietetics. We also have seminars for our professionals. And we conduct review classes for undergraduate students such that they are able to make it to the board exam.
Okay. So do you have Facebook or
Yes, we have a Facebook,
Twitter account pa?
Nutrition Foundation Association of the Philippines Foundation.
Ayan, i-like nyo rin po yun and subscribe. And lastly, ma'am, if ever there are people who would like to ask for consultation from you, do you still take consult calls po ba or ano?
Yes,
Opo.
we can recommend dietitians who can also do counseling.
Hindi yung pwedeng diet ka lang. Pero pwede naman po ba yun, diet lang without need for dietitian unless talagang
Kung marunong naman yung
kung
pasyente.
marunong naman, oo. Pero kung mga border na ng diabetic na
Well, if
or
there
ano
are
na,
certain medical conditions,
medical condition
kunyari,
na, for example.
diabetic, mataas ang mga lipid profile, triglycerides, then it will be helpful to be counseled by a professional.
better na talaga, ma'am, no?
Opo.
Than experiment on your own body and then later on you regret na hindi mo pala kailangan mag-diet ng sobra. Then deprive yourself later on, you're gonna eat a lot, no? Ayan, thank you very much, ma'am, for
Thank you
taking
for having
time.
me.
That's Miss Celeste Tanchoco. Marami pong salamat for watching Freshly Brewed, our pilot episode since the pandemic, ma'am. Wow.
Oh.
Yes! Congratulations, you are our first guest, ma'am. Thank you po. And for any more questions, you may also email us at nomore@businessmirror.com.ph. Malou Talosig Bartolome po from Business Mirror.
And that wraps today's episode of Freshly Brewed. Watch out for the next episode, engaging conversations and stories via Business Mirror's multimedia platforms. Thank you for tuning in to Freshly Brewed. Stay informed, stay inspired, and make smarter choices every day with Business Mirror. For the latest stories and updates, visit our website, businessmirror.com.ph, for a broader look at today's business. And follow us on our social media channels. Stay ahead, know more, and see you next time.